Dad, you've protected me all my life. Now it's my turn to protect you. There is life with you, not with me. Don't come looking for me. I'm safe. I'm fine.
Mr. Vogel, I wouldn't normally release someone with this type of infection.
Dad!
I need you to follow the rules here. Quarantine is 8 weeks in. She's probably going to show more signs of aggression and hunger. When that happens, say your goodbyes and get her straight through quarantine.
It's time for Movie Month. It is my third annual Movie Month, in which I will be watching 30 movies in 30 days, and I'll either hate them or give them praise. What if I told you that I just watched a zombie movie starring Arnold Schwarzenegger? But what if I also told you that this was not your typical Arnold movie, and this was not your typical zombie movie, and that this was just kind of a deeply depressing drama with actual acting and quite possibly the best performance that Arnold Schwarzenegger has ever given on film? You'd probably say I'm crazy, right? Obviously, Commando is the greatest Arnold Schwarzenegger performance. But today's movie, the 2015 Maggie, it's not your typical Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. I'm watching this movie saying, you know, that could be anybody doing this role. It didn't have to be Arnold. Even Arnold's an old man now, but it didn't have to be Arnold. Like, you see Commando, you see Terminator, you're like, that's Arnold. That has to be Arnold. With this movie today, Maggie, he's just a dad with an accent who was kind of caught between a rock and a hard place with his daughter. So what is Maggie? And I said a zombie movie. Well, I'll read the synopsis from IMDb. It says a teenage girl in the Midwest becomes infected by an outbreak of a disease that slowly turns the infected into cannibalistic zombies. During her transformation, her loving father stays by her side. There you go, right there. I actually really wanted to talk about this movie today. Yesterday I wasn't very excited. And sometimes I'm talking about movies while I'm walking or catching my train. But today I'm sitting down in front of the old microphone, talking to you like with my public radio voice, and just kind of heaping praise on this movie, which is funny because I looked it up on Rotten Tomatoes and it only got 57%. Kind of shocked me. Arnold Schwarzenegger plays the dad, of course, and Abigail Breslin, who I think is Little Miss Sunshine, also in Zombieland, a very different zombie movie, plays the daughter. And there are a couple zombies in it, with some neighbors who turned into zombies. And that was just kind of depressing as well. Like, the whole thing was just depressing drama, and it felt real. Like, this wasn't a ridiculous zombie movie. There was no you have to kill the brain or anything like that. It just felt like what would happen if there was a crazy outbreak with that turned people cannibalistic and kind of into almost like zombies, for lack of a better term, but it does it slowly. The government knows about it. It's not like we're on the brink of apocalypse. Phones are still working. There's a lot less people. People are told to burn their crops. There was a gas station that was pretty much abandoned, but life kind of still was going on. Um, and it started out with, Abigail Breslin being found by some officers of some kind, some kind of police, and brought to a hospital. Um, but Arnold tracking her down at that hospital and had the ability to take her home. And basically, they say you can take her home, but when the time comes, she needs to be quarantined. But you're responsible for her. Excuse me. So the way it seems to work is, at a certain point, the illness gets people to where they need to be quarantined, and from what some of these kids have heard, quarantine just means you're kind of stuck in there with you or people that are worse than you, and you start eating each other. Sounded terrible. Um, uh, Maggie, the daughter, had a friend who also was going through this, and he progressed to the point where he had to get quarantined, and you saw him basically get taken away from his family and his house. I really should have had a glass of water before I started recording this. Um, but Arnold was not going to let the cops come and take Maggie away, to the point where he has other children with his wife. They were sent away early for safety, and it got to the point where the wife left too. And he was on his own. Now, this wasn't Maggie's mother. This was his second wife. His first wife with Maggie's mother passed away in the story. Oh, yeah, spoilers. Um, so it really came down to just him and his daughter and just being with her for as long as he could. As she progressed, and she knew it was coming, and she was basically saying, you have to do this. She was basically, saying, when the time comes, please just kill me, because I'm not, I don't want to infect anyone or hurt anybody. But it was just like, if Arnold didn't have the accent, he didn't feel like Arnold. He just felt like an older dad, um, who cared about his daughter. Like, the dude was acting. Like, at one point, you just see the pain and the anguish in his face, and you feel for him. Another point, you see a little tear run down his face. I mean, I remember years ago where he took a round saw blade in Commando and he threw it at a guy and chopped the top of his head off, and then took a sword and chopped a guy's arm off. He had to do some stuff in this movie, but it wasn't Arnold stuff. It was stuff that any guy probably would have done if he needed to. He almost kicked some ass with some cops who were coming to take Maggie away, but he kind of worked with basically the police. Said, you know what, fine, just as long as she's fine, you're fine, but you need to take care of things. The movie just, it's like it has some nice moments between the daughter, Abigail Breslin, and the dad, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like, really just nice bonding moments of a family that knows at a certain point they're going to be broken apart, and there's going to be a loss, and there's going to be a death. And that's just kind of what this entire film was. This film was just kind of sad, but it never was cheap. It was never like, at one point she is, you think she might have turned, and you're ready for her. If this was a cheap movie, she would have snapped up and tried to, bite Arnold, but instead that didn't happen. There was very little gore, very little, jumpy moments. There were moments that were uncomfortable. There were moments where I was like, I wanted to cover my face, but it was just because I was almost expecting something to happen, and it didn't. It's not a long movie. I think it's like an hour and a half, hour and 35 minutes. I watched half of it on the treadmill this morning, and the other half I watched this afternoon, and it was on Hulu. So if you have a Hulu, you can watch Maggie. And I think this is the first movie I've ever seen on Hulu. So I watched a little on the iPad and the rest on the TV. And I remember seeing trailers for it, when it first came out or when it was first coming out. And I was really looking forward to it. I mean, I was like, then I said, I really want to see this movie. And I kind of forgot about it. And I was looking for a movie to watch today. And wouldn't you know it, Maggie showed up in my Hulu. So I said, oh, there it is. That's the one. There was another movie I was going to watch, and I keep putting it off. And I might watch. I'm sure I'm still going to watch it. I mean, Jesus, I got 21 other movies to watch, so I'm sure these green fighting ninja young people will be watched at one point. But not today. Today I watched a real movie, kind of just a dark, depressing drama that made you go, ugh. But in a weird, enjoyable way, also showed the father's love with the daughter. Right now I have a dog who just walked across the kitchen floor and is standing by the back window. So that means I need to take him out. So I'm going to do some quick housekeeping. This is Fans Not Experts Movie Month. FNE Movie Month is the short name for it. Yeah, I'm coming, buddy. He's giving me a look. So you can find me on Twitter at Geek Mentality. You can find the website on Twitter at Fans Not Experts. The website also is on Facebook, facebook.com/Fans Not Experts. Every post that we do gets posted up there. In the website, of course, is fansnotexperts.com. The hashtag that we're using for everything is hashtag FNE Movie Month. The name of this podcast is Geek Mentality. So if you're listening to it on the website, you can go to iTunes or any podcast thing that you use, search for Geek Mentality, subscribe to us. That'd be great. We also have a YouTube, Fans Not Experts. These episodes aren't being posted up there right now, but subscribe there too, because we have some other podcasts. We have a wrestling podcast called WrestleFania, and my cousin does a Boy Meets World podcast called Man Meets World. All those episodes should be up there, but you can search them on the iTunes, on the website. Just check us out, and we're trying. We're trying to make podcasts and and I just smashed my hand. We're trying to create content and eventually try to get rich. I mean, this is really what it's all about to get rich. So I'm going to take my dog out right now. I don't agree with the tomato meter on Rotten Tomatoes. I enjoyed Maggie. I sometimes, feeling sad makes you feel good. And there were some heartwarming moments enveloped in all the sadness, but I recommend this movie. I thought it was good. I think you should check it out. There's another movie that's going to be tomorrow. I think I'm going to watch a scary movie tomorrow. This movie was not really scary. This was, I don't want him to go, hey, okay, I'm coming. So I don't know what tomorrow exactly going to bring, but today's done. I enjoyed it. So it's time. You know what it's time for, right? It's time for my music. This is my podcast. I made it. Geek Mentality's what I named it. And I think you should listen and subscribe. 'Cause I'm kinda funny and awesome. I think that I'm worth your time, and I'm kinda handsome. My mom says, please listen and please subscribe. At least listen to this episode. Fans Not Experts.